The enemy is very cunning and clever, and a lie this big could best be sold with the art of paltering. Paltering is the art of selling a lie by using the truth. A 2017 Harvard study stated that paltering is effective because the use of active, truthful statements is likely to
putting all these legislations together to destroy America, but they always have to break away to go do rituals.
So the protocol developed in the Netherlands has two phases. The first phase, at the young adolescent age, is to give what are called a pubertal blocker. You give a medicine to block the progression of puberty, so you don't go through the wrong puberty. And then to continue some counseling, and then somewhere between 14 and 16 years of age, to start slowly cross-gender hormones. And they have to go through puberty. If it doesn't happen, it's going to take years. So you start in low doses, you gradually increase, so that they never go through the wrong puberty.
The good thing is a city right underneath the Capitol, because they don't have to go too far. Underground city right underneath the Capitol building. Yeah, they don't go very far. Break away and sacrifice a baby on a lunch break. This is the kind of people we're dealing with, folks. And it's all of them. It's not a hand-picked few. Senators and congressmen are elected ahead of time. They're elected ahead of time. They're chosen because they've sacrificed, made some kind of sacrifice that pleased Satan. And they've been doing their rituals and going to the rituals, and they've shown that they can keep quiet, not say anything to anybody, keep them quiet. And so then they're awarded to be elected for a certain year. Okay, you can run in 2012, and let's say they join the Brotherhood in 2008, 2009, and then they're told, okay, you have to do this and this and this, and then you can join in 2012, you can be elected. Voting does not matter, folks. Voting doesn't matter. You know, they sit and they have conference calls. The media networks all have conference calls during all these political meetings, and they conspire on what they're going to report and announce. They conspire together the whole time these primaries take place. So that way they can put their candidate at the top on all the network stations. It looks like Mitt Romney's winning. Nobody likes Mitt Romney. The Mormons don't even like him. But they like him. Satan likes to sacrifice.
Facts, Mormons don't even like Mitt Romney.
I
can guarantee that.
And Mitt Romney's afraid to die, so they can control him by fear. And these are the people we look up to. Brad Pitt, those two, Angie and Brad, were doing sacrifices and rituals with the Obamas on Halloween.
Yes.
Yo, pause. That's Obama? Yo, that's... Oh, hold on. What? Is this Barack Obama? You be the judge.
We can. Yes, we can. Yes, we can. Yes, we can.
Brock and Michael.
Yes, we can. Yes, we can. Yes, we can. Thank you, say. 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 Thank you, say.
Give us your mama, and we'll put you in the $20 million club. Man, you crazy. And if you weak, you ain't got the Lord on your side, you sitting at home in that dark room, you eating Ramen noodles, you ain't got no running water, electricity out, you buy a candle going.
Yeah, at your mama's house, eat ramen noodles and shit?
Alright, man. She worked, downtown, she get off at 6. What I supposed to do? Set it up, have her at home, you get your plane, go somewhere for a couple of days, and we'll send you a text. Alright. A week later, they give them a text. They won't say that she's dead. They'll be like, the party was great. Thanks for showing up. Because it's like coded. They ain't going to just come out and say they killed her, right? He heard on the news she's dead. He breaks down. He goes to the bank account. He got $20 million in his bank. He slowly forget his mama. Ask Kanye West. That's how he got down.
Teaching Satanism in school sounds like the stuff of horror movies, but a US court ruling on religious freedoms has enabled devil worshippers in Florida to hand out educational material about their beliefs to kids at state schools. We report Naya has this report.
Public education in America often uses coloring books to teach young Americans about math, science, and current events. This year, a new book filled with games and lessons about Satanism could be distributed to students attending public school in Florida's Orange County. The 10-page Satanic Children's Big Book of Activities features characters named Annabelle and Damien who demonstrate rituals to explain Satanism. This expanding wealth of information for America's young minds was made possible after a Florida judge last month ruled that if the Orange County School District allowed Christian groups to disseminate Bibles and other materials in its schools, then other religious and atheist groups should be given the same right to distribute their material. And followers of the Antichrist seized on the decision to treat all faiths equally. A spokesman for the Satanic Temple tells Raw Story that, quote, if a public school board is going to allow religious pamphlets and full Bibles to be distributed to students, as is the case in Orange County, Florida, we think the responsible thing to do is to ensure that these students are given access to a variety of different religious opinions, as opposed to standing idly by while one religious voice dominates the discourse and delivers propaganda to youth, unquote. In a ruling that was aimed at maintaining religious neutrality, students who may never have intended to learn about Christianity, atheism, or Satanism will now receive an introduction to all three.
5 international judges are examining evidence of child rape, torture, murder, and kidnapping allegedly done by global elite members of the Ninth Circle Satanic Child Sacrifice Cult Network. Regular Ninth Circle child sacrifices were said to take place in the catacombs of Catholic cathedrals, the Vatican, on private estates and groves, and government military bases in Belgium, Holland, Spain, Australia, Ireland, France, England, and the U.S. At least 34 child mass grave sites were identified in Ireland, Spain, and Canada, and refused excavation by the respective governments, the Crown of England, and the Catholic Church. Named as present in Ninth Circle activities were Pope Francis.
Hold up. What was that? I can't go back.
Former Pope Ratzinger, Anglican, United Church of Canada, and Catholic Church officials, including cardinals, members of European royalty, including Queen Elizabeth and Prince Philip, officials of the Canadian, Australian, UK, and US military and governments, including the USA's CIA, plus prominent government ministers, judges, politicians, and businessmen from the US, Belgium, Holland, Canada, Australia, France, Ireland, and the UK. Teens were drugged, stripped naked, raped, hunted down in the woods, and killed by European royals, according to eyewitnesses to testify before the International Common Law Court of Justice in Brussels. One woman was the 4th eyewitness to give accounts about these human hunting parties of the global elite Ninth Circle Satanic Child Sacrifice Cult Network. A former member of the Netherlands criminal drug syndicate known as Octopus testified that victims were obtained for these human hunting parties from juvenile detention centers in Belgium and Holland. One woman stated, quote, in 2004, I was an involuntary witness to torture, rape, and murder sessions of drugged children performed for a group of high-ranked people of the Netherlands. I was taken to a hunting party in Belgium close to Brussels where I saw 2 boys and a girl, ages 14 to 16, hunted and killed by global elites. The human hunting party was heavily guarded by the Netherlands Royal Guards. I was told that King Albert of Belgium was present. 4 eyewitnesses confirmed that as children and youths, they were forced to attend human hunting parties where they and other children were raped, with some killed, and deceased boys' penises were cut off. Allegedly, there was a Dutch countryside palace where boys' penises were displayed like trophies on a wall. Some hunting parties were hosted on the grounds of Netherlands at Queen Beatrix's palace. Dutch therapist Toos Nijenhuis claimed that as a 4-year-old, she was forced to witness murders of children that involved former Pope Ratzinger, a Dutch Catholic cardinal, plus the father of Netherlands Queen Beatrix and Bilderberger founder Dutch Crown Prince Elfrink Bernard. Quote, I saw the former Pope Joseph Ratzinger murder a little girl. One witness confirmed this. It was a French chateau in the fall of 1987. It was ugly, horrible, and didn't happen just once. Ratzinger and Bernard were some of the more prominent men who took part. In Ireland, Spain, and Canada, 34 child mass grave sites were discovered and appeared linked to Ninth Circle activities. The largest was the Mohawk Indian Residential School in Brantford, Ontario, where child remains were identified in 2008 before the Catholic Church, Canadian government, and English Crown shut down the
What's going on there? What
the dig by professional archaeologists. The 2013 ICLCJ court had found Queen Elizabeth and Prince Philip guilty for the October 10, 1964 disappearance of 10 native children from the Catholic Residential School in Kamloops, British Columbia. In the first 2 weeks of the 2014, court witnesses identified Dutch and Belgian royal participants in the rape and killing of Mohawk children and newborns. Named were Bernard and King Hendrik, consort to Queen Wilhelmina of Holland. Alleged to be present during the human hunting parties were the late Prince John Friso and his wife Mabel Rees-Smit, former ministers, the top man of the Dutch army, the undersecretary of the Raad van State in the Netherlands, the viceroy next to Queen Beatrix, and other global business and political leaders, including some from the U.S.
Oh shoot, bro was doing coke? That's crazy, bro was doing coke right there. Father knows how to get down. That's gotta be fake. Yo, chill.
The Twix Candy Company wants your 10-year-old boy to start wearing a dress. They just released this new commercial in partnership with Freeform, formerly known as the ABC Family Channel, but since the cultural Marxists hate families and are doing everything they can to undermine the basic fabric of society, they renamed the network to Freeform, because anything goes. In the commercial, the boy meets his new nanny, who's a witch, who embraces his dress. And later, when a normal kid starts making fun of him, she uses her magical powers and kills him. Of course, that's not the only commercial that has absolutely nothing to do with the junk food itself. Doritos just put out this ad in Spanish for Dias de los Muertos, which is the day after Halloween. It's a Mexican holiday where people commemorate their dead relatives, and they set up an altar in their memory and put out a plate of food for their spirit and have a big party. And so Doritos has this commercial where their dead uncle, Uncle Albert, comes and visits them and reveals that he's gay, and he now found a boyfriend in the afterlife. I'm serious, this is not a parody, this really is a real Doritos commercial, and it really is what the commercial is about. This one's not a Halloween commercial, but it's a real ad for Bingo over in the UK, which features, of course, another drag queen. Then there's this Pantene shampoo commercial featuring two lesbians and the former son that they were raising, who miraculously just decided that he wants to be a girl instead, and now they're the proud parents of a transgender 10-year-old girl.
Sawyer is an old soul. She is our spunky and creative kiddo. She has always been super gender creative, and hair has been a big part of her transition. Once she told us that she identified as a girl, she immediately wanted to grow her hair out.
It made me feel good and confident, and it made my insides match my outsides.
And I'm sure you saw the Blue's Clues cartoon included an episode with a drag queen singing about how great gender non-binary people are. This is aimed at children ages 3 to 5, by the way. All they wanted was the right to be married, they said, but now they're bombarding America with endless propaganda, from Nickelodeon to kids' candy commercials, that your 10-year-old son should be a drag queen. At the Burlington, Vermont High School this year for homecoming, where Bernie Sanders lives and was once the mayor, they had a drag queen show during halftime at the game.
In a sport that has traditionally been very masculine, it's really good for us to be able to add kind of a gender-bending aspect to that.
BHS students, along with students from South Burlington and Winooski, creating their own persona. School administrators proud of how their students have come together and the allyship they've shown each other.
Sorry, but it gets even worse. At Wilton Manors Elementary School yesterday in Broward County, Florida, one of the school board members took the elementary school kids to a gay bar for a field trip, where most of the items on the menu have names that are sexual puns. She proudly posted pictures on her Facebook page saying that this was